Good morning, and this is video 22, I believe. In video 21 we talked about Lucifer, Satan, Caligastia, who you know as the devil, Gabriel, and Michael, who you know as Jesus. So, I want to give a background of God's kingdom and why He created all of us. If you look at it logically, God could have had a thought and instantly created everybody to do exactly what He wanted to do, make them absolutely perfect, and run His kingdom the way He wanted to run it. But when you look at what God actually did and is doing, you see that there's only one word that will describe His motivations, and that word is love. You see, if He created us perfect, then we would do exactly what He said He wants us to do, and we would just do it because we were created to do exactly that. But He didn't do it that way. He gave us free will. And that is the most important factor in God's kingdom, is the word love. He wants us to become perfect out of our own free will. He doesn't want to persuade us or push us or anything else. He wants us to come and see Him because we appreciate the fact that He has given us life. We appreciate the fact that He has given us free will. And we appreciate the fact that He's actually our Father. And He loves us. And He created us out of love. If you look at your own son or daughter, don't you love them? Don't you want them to become a little better than what you were? Well, that's no different than God. God wants us to excel in whatever we want to do and eventually become perfect and come see Him. And so God created Michael, who you know as Jesus, out of love. Michael is the Son of God. And Michael created this universe that we all live in, and you and me, out of love. This universe is teeming with life. Just our system alone has 607 inhabited planets, all of which the people on all these planets Michael loves, because He created all of us out of love. Because we all have free will. And we can do whatever we want to do. We can reject everything He's offering us, or we can accept it. And so that brings us, and God, one more fact that you need to know. God's government is set up so that it's nothing but schools. When you move on to the next life, you're going to actually go into school, and you're going to be in school until you become perfect. Whether it takes, 100 years or 1,000 years, whatever. He set up all of this out of love to teach you and me how to become perfect. Right? All these schools were designed to teach us the things that we need to know to become perfect. Right? And Lucifer was in charge of our system to make sure that all those things work efficiently out of love. But something went wrong with Lucifer's mind. Perhaps they think he was so brilliant that he thought more of himself than what is absolutely necessary. They don't really know why Lucifer decided to turn against God. They just know that one day he decided that all these schools were just a total waste of time, and that we should be able to do anything we want to do, decide anything we want to decide, and skip these schools. It's kind of sort of like letting your 5th or 6th year old kid just, don't teach him nothing anymore. Just let him do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to be mean and nasty, he can be mean and nasty. If he wants to be prejudiced against people, he can be prejudiced, whatever. But Lucifer thought that all these schools were for naught. And so he decided to set up his own government. And so Gabriel, who was Jesus' first creation, who was actually in charge of our universe when Michael is off doing things, or Jesus Christ, however you want to, Gabriel had sensed there was something wrong with Lucifer. And so Gabriel went to the Ancient of Days, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think it was the Ancient of Days. I should have looked this up before I started this, but pretty sure it was the Ancient of Days, and they discussed things. And in the meantime, Lucifer went to Jerusalem, heavenly Jerusalem, and set up his own government there and started talking to the people. But before he did this, he spent about, quite a bit of time convincing Satan. And when Satan bought into his plan, and this is a rebellion, this was started by Lucifer. Satan was his first convert, and so Lucifer goes to Jerusalem to set up his own government and start talking to people there and trying to convince them to join him. Meanwhile, Satan comes to Earth, or our planet is actually called Urantia, and talks to Caligastia. Takes Satan a little bit to convince Caligastia to go against God and his kingdom. And so when Caligastia decided to, join the rebellion, that's when he became the devil. And so now you have to look at everything. Before Satan came to convince Caligastia, Caligastia was doing an excellent job here. We're talking 250,000 years ago this happened. And you have to keep in mind that 1,000 years in God's kingdom, or 1,000 years here, is one day in God's kingdom. Alright, so for the rebellion, thousands of years had happened. As a matter of fact, there was, when Caligastia arrived here, there was approximately 500 million people on the planet, and he had been here for thousands of years before the rebellion. So he was actually doing a good job teaching the people things to advance them, like hygiene, and they actually knew about God and his kingdom, and all the other planets, inhabited planets, they knew about it. Alright, and so Caligastia now joins the rebellion and becomes the devil. Now, I think I only have like 15 minutes, so I've been talking long enough. But this is the beginning of the rebellion. And so in video 23, we'll continue talking about the rebellion and what happened and how it happened and the decisions that Michael made, because this rebellion went on for quite a long time. So with that, you have a nice day, and we'll see you on video